Okay. In last class in trigonometry, we have discussed the sine rule and cosine rule. Okay, now, and of course, trigonometric ratios, sine 30, cos 30, etc. we discussed it. Next, trigonometric formula. Okay, sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. No? Sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, we can write. Next, sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta into cos theta, we can write. Or sine theta is equal to 2 into sine. This angle by 2 we have written. This angle by 2 means theta by 2. Sine theta by 2, cos theta by 2 we can write. Okay, next 1 plus cos theta is equal to 1 plus cos theta is equal to 2 cos square theta by 2. 1 minus cos theta is equal to 2 sine square theta by 2. 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square theta by 2 we have written. Here 1 plus cos 2 theta, sorry. 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to here 1 plus cos 2 theta. 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square 2 theta by 2 means theta only. 1 minus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 sine square theta by 2 means 2 theta by 2. That's why it is equal to sine square theta. 2 sine square theta. Next, sine of a plus b. Sine of a plus b. That can be written as sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. Sine a cos b plus cos a sine b we can write. Okay. So here, instead of writing all this on the board, better to screen share the formulas now. Shall I screen share the formulas? Share the screen. Okay, so that we can save the time. Okay, right. Okay, if you see theta is equal to arc by radius in the diagram. Suppose when the body travel from A to B along the circular path about the center, then when it travels from A to B, the distance traveled by the body along the distance traveled by the body, you see, that from A to B the body travel. So the distance traveled by the body is equal to length of the arc, no? Length of the arc by radius, that is equal to angle subtended theta. So theta is equal to arc by radius. Then that is equal to arc means L by radius means R. If length of the here, if the length of the arc is same as the radius, then theta is equal to 1 radian, no? So how we can define the radian? Angle subtended by the arc at the center whose length is equal to its radius. That means when the angle subtended by the arc are made by the arc at the center whose length is equal to its radius, then L and R cancel. Then theta is equal to 1 radian. That's why how we can define the radian means angle subtended by the arc at the center whose length is equal to its radius is called radian. Already I said pi radians is equal to 180 degree or 2 pi radians is equal to 360 degree. Okay, from that 1 radian is equal to 180 degree pi we can write now. So pi means 22 by 7. Or 1 radian is equal to approximately 57 degree, 18 minutes we can write approximately. Here 16 degrees there. Actually, we can write 18 minutes. Approximately 18 minutes we can write. Okay. Next, you see, already trigonometric ratio functions. Sin theta, cos theta, everything already I said in the class in last class only. Trigonometric ratios already I said. Up to 120 degree we have written. Now trigonometric formulae. You see, I am telling these formulas. Okay. Now all of you see. Because instead of writing these formulas on the board, we can save the time. That's why I am displaying this one. Okay, all of you see trigonometric formulae. Okay, yesterday classes already I uploaded in the YouTube so that you can go through them. Okay, right. You don't chat about regarding that point again. Right, trigonometric formulae. All of you see, sine of a plus b is equal to, we can write sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. Sine of a minus b is equal to sine a cos b minus cos a sine b. Cos of a plus b is equal to cos a cos b minus sine a sine b. Because these all are in our mathematics also. Okay, but in our physics, these some formulas are important to us in physics to solve the problems. Okay, that's why I'm telling this one. Okay. So here, cos of A minus B is equal to cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. All of you see. Cos of A plus B, cos of A minus B is equal to cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. Tan of A plus B is equal to okay. Now you see tan of A plus B. Here you see tan of A plus B is equal to tan A plus tan B by 1 minus tan A tan B. In mathematics, you will generally you will prove these formulas also. Tan of A minus B is equal to tan A minus tan B by 1 plus tan A tan B. Sin 2A is equal to, already we discussed that. Sin 2A is equal to 2 sin A cos A, or sin 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta cos theta. Already we discussed it. Okay, cos 2A is equal to, similarly, cos 2A is equal to cos square A minus sin square A. That is equal to, we can write 1 minus sin square tan square A by 1 plus tan square A. Tan 2A is equal to 2 tan A by 1 minus tan square A. And 2A is equal to 2 tan A by 1 minus tan square A, we can write. Okay, next you see sin of A plus B plus sin of A minus B is equal to sin of A plus B plus sin of A minus B is equal to, we can write 2 sin A cos B, because sin of A plus B means already we have written here sin A cos B plus cos A sin B, no. So instead of sin of A plus B, you write sin A cos B plus cos A sin B. Sin of A minus B is equal to sin A cos B minus cos A sin B. When you add them, then after simplification you will get 2 sin A cos B. Similarly, sin of A plus B minus sin of A minus B is equal to 2 cos A sin B. Cos of A plus B plus cos of A minus B is equal to 2 cos A cos B. Cos of A minus B minus cos of A plus B is equal to 2 sin A sin B. Sin A plus sin B is equal to sin A. You see, sin A plus sin B is equal to 2 sin A plus B by 2 cos A minus B by 2. We can write sin A minus sin B is equal to 2 cos A plus B by 2 sin A minus B by 2. We can write cos A plus cos B is equal to 2 cos A plus B by 2 cos A minus B by 2. Similarly, cos A minus cos B is equal to 2 sin A plus B by 2 into sin B minus A by 2. We can write these formulas. So everyone has to have these formulas because these are very, very important. Okay, in physics, these formulas are very, very important. You have to by heart them. Okay, next you see. In next page, already I discussed these formulas. Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Sin theta is equal to 2 sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2. We can write 1 plus cos theta is equal to 2 cos square theta by 2. 1 minus cos theta is equal to 2 sin square theta by 2. We can write. Okay. Next, 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square theta. 2 cos square theta. Okay, now 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square theta. Now, properties of triangle. Already in last class, I discussed these formulas only. In properties of triangle, by taking the scale and triangle, we derived the law of sines. According to law of sines, already I said, that's why just I am displaying the formula. A by sin A is equal to B by sin B is equal to C by sin C. A by sin A. You see, A means side of this triangle in the scale and triangle. A by sin A means opposite sine of opposite angle for this side A. Similarly, B by sine of opposite angle capital B. C by sine of opposite angle capital C in this triangle. Okay, this is the Lami's theorem, or it is called as the law of sines. Okay, similarly, law of cosines. So according to law of cosines, all of you see that law of cosines. So according to law of cosines here, already yesterday I said, by Pythagoras principle I said, a square is equal to b square plus c square minus 2bc cos a. So you see the scale and triangle. This is scale and triangle here. Okay, here you see a square is equal to sum of the squares of opposite sides, that means b square plus c square minus 2bc into cos a. Cos a అంటే ఇక్కడ ఈ సైడ్ కి ఆపోజిట్ గా ఉన్న యాంగిల్. ఓకే, సిమిలర్లీ c square is equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab cos c. So similarly c square is equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab into cos c. So these are the law of cosines. Already I said yesterday. Okay, now area of the area and volume. So for different regular bodies, how we can find the area? What are the formulas for area and what are the formulas for volumes? We have to discuss. Okay, now you see scalene triangle. In scalene triangle, area of the triangle means half base into height. No, that base is a and the height of the triangle is h. Already by using this concept only, we proved the law of sines. By using this concept only, we proved the law of sines. Okay. We proved the law of sines. Next, area of the trapezium. That is very, very important. All of you see this one. Okay, now I will display on board and I will explain, because these are the diagrams, so that I can draw the diagram on the board and I will explain so that you can understand clearly. Because previously we are having formulas. That's why simply I said that formulas. Okay, now all of you see on board. Area and volume. In study hour today, you have to read all formulas very thoroughly. Okay, now you see area and volume. For different bodies, what is the formula for area and what is the formula for volume? We have to discuss. So first you take scalene triangle. That means different side. All sides are different. These all sides are different sides. Okay, this is the scalene triangle. Scalene triangle. So in case of scalene triangle, suppose this side is A, this side is B, this side is C. Then height of the triangle is say h. Then area of this triangle, you take this side as the base. Okay, then area of the triangle is called half base into height. General formula, half base into height. So half base means A into height is equal to h. Suppose if you take this side as the base, then half this base into height of the triangle. Similarly, you take this as the base and you find the area of the triangle by using the formula. So it is the general formula for scalene triangle. Okay, next for trapezium. Trapezium, it is very, very important. Trapezium, frequently in the graphs, trapezium graphs are there. So in case of trapezium, second one, trapezium. Trapezium means it is having four sides, in which two sides are parallel to each other. This side and this side are parallel to each other, but having four sides. That's why it is the trapezium. In this trapezium, suppose this side is A, this side is B, and the perpendicular distance between the two parallel sides. ఈ రెండు parallel sides మధ్య perpendicular distance suppose small h అనుకుందాం. అప్పుడు area of this trapezium is equal to half into sum of the lengths of two parallel sides అంటే A plus B. Parallel గా ఉన్న రెండు sides యొక్క total length అంటే A plus B into perpendicular distance between two parallel sides అంటే h గా. So area of the trapezium is equal to half into sum of the lengths of parallel sides into perpendicular distance between the two sides. That is the area of the trapezium. That is the area of the trapezium. Okay. Next, third one, circle. Suppose here it is the circle of radius capilla. Then what is the formula for area? Formula for area is equal to pi into radius square only, no? Area is pi r square and circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Or length of the circular path is equal to 2 pi r. It is the circumference. Okay. Or it is the perimeter of the circle. This is also called as the perimeter of the circle. That means the total length of the circle. That is the perimeter or circumference of the circle. Okay. Next, what is the diameter of the circle? If r is the radius, diameter is equal to 2r, no? Diameter is equal to 2r. Diameter is equal to 2r. Okay. Next, fourth one, cone. You take cone. Suppose this is the cone. It is called base of the cone. It is the vertex. So here it is the center of the base of the cone. Radius of the base of the cone is r, and height of the cone is small h, and length of the slant surface is equal to, say, L. Length of the slant surface is equal to L. So from this right angle triangle, according to Pythagoras principle, we can write L square is equal to r square plus h square. We can write now. L square is equal to r square plus h square. This cone is having some volume because these all are the thin plate. This is thin plate. This is thin plate. Thickness is negligible. That's why volumes are negligible. That's why I did not write the volumes for these cases. But here in case of cone, volume is also there now. So what is the volume of the cone? What is the area of the curved surface? Here only the curved area of the curved surface. So area of curved surface. This curved surface only. Area of the curved surface is equal to pi r into L. Pi r into L. Next, of course, L means from this L is equal to square root of r square plus h square. We can write now here. So this is equal to pi r into L means square root of r square plus h square. Okay, that is the surface area of the that is the area of the curved surface. Okay, next, volume of the cone. Volume of cone. 1/3 pi r square h. 1/3 pi r square h. 1/3 of pi r square into height of the cone h. Okay. Suppose if you imagine there is a cylinder of height h, radius r, then volume of the cylinder is equal to pi r square h. In that, only 1/3 of volume is the volume of the cone. Okay. So this is the volume of the cone. Total surface area of the cone means this curved area of the curved surface plus area of the flat surface. Area of the flat surface means it is the circular shape. That's why pi r square. Pi r square plus this one. That is the total surface area of the cone. But the curved area of the curved surface means only pi r L, which is equal to pi r into square root of r square plus h square. We can write. Fifth one, sphere. It is the sphere of radius Kepler. It is the sphere of radius Kepler. Okay, mass say Kaplan. Then what is the surface area of the sphere? Surface area of sphere is equal to 4 pi Kepler square. Volume of the sphere. Volume of sphere. What is the volume of the sphere? What is the volume of the sphere? What is the volume of the sphere? 4/3 pi cube, no? Volume of the sphere is equal to 4/3 pi Kepler cube. It is the volume of the sphere. Okay. Next, square plate. Sixth one, annular ring. Annular ring. Annular ring means actually it is just like a circular disc. Okay, but having a hole at a concentric hole at the center. It is the center. Inner radius is smaller, outer radius is Kepler. It is called annular disc. In the annular disc, the mass present only in the shaded region only. Okay, now what is the area, surface area of the annular disc? Surface area of annular disc. Area of annular disc. Area of annular disc is from this total area, because as there is no matter here, from this total area you subtract the area of the small circle. That gives the area of the shaded part only, which is the area of the annular ring. So pi capital square minus pi small r square. Or when you take pi common, capital square minus small r square is the area of the annular disc. Okay. Next, square plate. Seventh one. You take the square plate. Suppose that there is a square plate of side A. Then what is the diagonal? What is the diagonal? Diagonal is equal to this is A, this is A. From Pythagoras principle, this length is equal to that. It is the diagonal of square root of A square plus A square means root 2A square. That means root 2 into A. Next, what is the half of the length of the diagonal? That means this length. That is equal to half of the length of this diagonal. Root A by 2. That means A by root 2. No. Area of the square. Area of the square means A square. Similarly, rectangle. Similarly, a rectangle. So what is the area of the rectangle? Rectangle. That means if the length and breadth both are different, that is the rectangle. If length and breadth both are equal, that is the square. If they are different, that is the rectangle. In case of rectangle, okay, very good. What is the area of the rectangle? Area is equal to length into breadth. Area of the rectangle is equal to length into breadth. Next, what about the cube? Here, in case of cube, every surface is in the form of a square, having 6 surfaces like this. This is the cube of side, say A. Here, how many faces, how many square faces the cube have? How many square faces the cube have? Tell me. A cube 6 faces are there, no? Each face, what is the area of each face? Okay. What is the area of each face? What is the area of each face? A square. In this face, 6 faces are there. So total surface area is equal to 6 into A square. A square is the surface area of each face. So total surface area is equal to 6A square. No? Volume of the cube. Volume of cube is equal to A cube. We can write no, because the area of cross section of this is A square into this thickness is equal to A. That gives volume. A square into A means A cube. That is the volume of the cube. Okay. Next, 10th one, wall cylinder. Cylinder. In case of cylinder, the cross section is in the form of a circular cross section. It is called the cylinder. Okay. Here the line passing through centers of the cross section of the cylinder is called the axis of the cylinder. Radius is capital. Length is capital. Then what is the area of the curved surface of the cylinder? Area of curved surface of the cylinder means, just you see, what is the circumference? 2 pi r is the circumference and the length is equal to L. Just you suppose it is a hollow cylinder. You cut the hollow cylinder like this and you open them. When you open them, this length becomes 2 pi r, this length is L. Then what is the area of the curved surface means? 2 pi r into L. No? 2 pi RL is the area of the curved surface. Of course, area of the flat surface means pi r square, you know. Next, what is the volume of the cylinder? Volume of cylinder. Volume of cylinder means area of cross section into length gives volume of the cylinder. For any object, volume is area of cross section into length. Area of cross section is equal to pi r square into length is L. And pi r square L is the volume of the cylinder. Pi r square L is the volume of the cylinder. Okay. Next, so these are the different formulas in trigonometry. Okay. Next, algebra. We have discussed the algebra, some concepts related to algebra. Okay. Okay. Now you see. Now I want to discuss some important concepts in algebra. So these formulas we need in trigonometry. Next, algebra. First, in algebra, what are the natural numbers? What are the natural numbers? I think you see, I shared the screen. All of you see, natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. Other than 0, from 1, all numbers are called natural numbers. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. They are called natural numbers. Suppose if you write including 0, then they are called whole numbers. They are called whole numbers. Okay. So here also you see, I will display the, already I displayed, just I read the formulas because in this what is on the board. So simply you can just you see the notes. So in algebra, natural numbers means we can call 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. These numbers are called natural numbers. Okay, whole numbers means countable numbers are called as the natural numbers. Yeah, countable numbers means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. No? They are called funny. Countable numbers means they are 1, 2, 3, 4 like the running numbers. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. They are called natural numbers. Whole numbers means including 0. But in natural numbers, 0 is not included because we cannot count that 0. We cannot say this is 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. From 1 only we are counting. That's why countable numbers are nothing but natural numbers, including 0. If you write the numbers, then they are called whole numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. They are called whole numbers. Integers means including minus values also. Including minus values also. All numbers including 0, minus values, positive values, negative values, positive values, including 0 are called integers. Okay, next, common identities. You see, common identities. Okay, here all of you see common identities. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. We can write now. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. We can write. Or a minus b whole square is equal to, we can write, all of you see the display. A minus b whole square is equal to, we can write a square plus b square minus 2ab. We can write now. Okay. Here this a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab, because a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square. First you write the a plus b whole square formula minus of a minus b whole square formula you write, and if you simplify them you will get 4ab. That indicates a plus b whole square is equal to a minus b whole square plus 4ab. We can write. Similarly, a minus b whole okay, next, a plus b into a minus b. A plus b into a minus b, we can write a square minus b square. No, a plus b into a minus b can be written as a square minus b square. Okay, here in this you see how we can write a to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4 like this. Suppose we are having an example a to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4 is there. How we can write this in terms of a square minus b square or a square plus b square like that? As since a square minus b square is equal to, we can write a plus b into a minus b, no? Similarly, a to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4 can be written as a square plus b square into a square minus b square. A to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4 can also be written as a square plus b square into a square minus b square. Okay. Next. So a to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4 can be written as a square plus b square into a square minus b square. We can write. Okay. Next, you see a cube plus b cube is equal to a cube plus b cube is equal to a plus b into a square minus ab plus b square. A cube plus b cube can be written as a plus b into a square minus ab plus b square, or that can also be written as a plus b whole cube minus of 3ab plus 3ab into a plus b, we can write. Similarly, a cube minus b cube can be written as a minus b into a square plus ab plus b square, or a minus b whole cube plus 3ab into a minus b, we can write. Similarly, a plus b whole square plus a minus b whole square. Already at the beginning only I said a plus b whole square minus a minus b whole square is equal to 4ab, I said. Similarly, a plus b whole square plus a minus b whole square is equal to a plus b whole square value you write and a minus b whole square value you write, plus 4ab minus 4ab cancel, and a square plus b square, a square plus b square only left over. When you add them, then we will get 2 of a square plus b square, 2 of a square plus b square. Next, you see next. Okay, now all of you see on board. All of you see on board. Third one. Suppose a to the power of m whole to the power of n is there. A to the power of m whole to the power of n is there. That means a square whole to the power of 3 is there. Then this can be written as a to the power of m into n. A to the power of m into n, we can write. Similarly, a to the power of m into a to the power of n is there. As the bases are equal, powers can be added. So a to the power of m plus n we have to write. Okay, next a to the power of m by a to the power of n is there. That is equal to a to the power of m into, here 1 by a to the power of n can be written as a to the power of minus n into a to the power of minus n. As the bases are equal, powers can be added. A to the power of m plus minus n, that means m minus n. We can write like this. Okay, similarly, root a is there. Root a, that means we can write a to the power of 1 by 2. Cube root a is there. That can be written as a to the power of 1 by 3, we can write. Cube root a is equal to a to the power of 1 by 3. Okay, next, factorial n. These are all the symbols. Factorial n. Instead of writing 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into like that, when multiplication of number of natural numbers, instead of writing product of number of natural numbers, simply we can write factorial n. Factorial n means n factorial, లేదా n factorial is the right symbol. What does it mean? That means it is equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into, that means this n into one number we have to decrease, n minus 1. Again one number we have to decrease. In this way, we have to write the product of all is up to 1. Up to 1. So instead of writing the product of n integers, we can write simply product of first n integers, we can write simply factorial n. And 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into and so on up to n. Instead of writing the product of all n integers, then we can write simply factorial n like this. Okay, factorial n is equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into up to 1 we have to write. Okay. Next, suppose example factorial 3 is there. That is equal to 3 into we had reduced by 1. So 2 we have reduced by 1. 1. So up to 1 we have written. That is equal to 6. So factorial 3 is equal to 6. Similarly, factorial 5 is there. Factorial 5 means 5 into, we have to reduce the number by 1 and we have to write here. 4 into, 3 into, 2 into, 1. So what is the value? 5 4s are 20. 20 into 3, 60. 60 into 2, 120. So 120 is the factorial 5 value. In this way, we can write factorial 5. Okay, instead of writing 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, instead of writing this lengthy method, simply if you write factorial 5, that is the meaning that reflects this meaning only. That's why this can be written like this, which is equal to 120. All of you stop your video sharing, please. All of you stopping. Okay. Okay, Nagasai, you see, there is a product of first n integers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to n integers ఉన్నాయి. అంటే natural numbers. Not integers, natural numbers. A product of first n natural numbers అంటే 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into అట్లా n టైమ్స్ రాయాలి. అట్లా రాసే బదులు సింపుల్ గా దాన్ని ఫ్యాక్టోరియల్ n అని కూడా రాసుకోవచ్చు. సింబల్ ఇట్ ఇస్ ద సింబల్. అట్లాగే ఫ్యాక్టోరియల్ 3 అని ఉంది అనుకోండి, అంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రొడక్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఫస్ట్ 3 న్యాచురల్ నెంబర్స్. అంటే 1 into 2 into 3. ఆ 1 into 2 into 3 ని √3 గా రాసుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే, సిమిలర్లీ √5 అనుకోండి, ఇట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రొడక్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఫస్ట్ 5 న్యాచురల్ నెంబర్స్. ఫ్రమ్ ఫస్ట్ 5 న్యాచురల్ నెంబర్స్ అంటే 1 నుంచేగా తీసుకోవాల్సింది. 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. వీటిని మల్టిప్లై చేస్తే 120 వస్తుంది. కాబట్టి దిస్ ఫ్యాక్టోరియల్ 5 రిప్రజెంట్స్ ప్రొడక్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఫస్ట్ 5 న్యాచురల్ నెంబర్స్. దీన్ని మనం ఫ్యాక్టోరియల్ ఇట్లా కూడా రిప్రజెంట్ చేయొచ్చు, n ఫ్యాక్టోరియల్ అని కూడా రాయొచ్చు. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ క్వాడ్రాటిక్ ఈక్వేషన్స్. నెక్స్ట్ క్వాడ్రాటిక్ ఈక్వేషన్స్, వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. Quadratic equations. Fourth one. Because these all are the topics covered in previous standards. That's why I'm telling very fastly. When our subject enters, definitely we'll go slow, somewhat slow. Okay. A plus b whole cube is equal to a plus b whole cube is equal to a plus b whole square into a plus b. You multiply them. A cube plus b cube plus 2ab into a plus b, you'll get like that now. A plus b whole cube means a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a plus b, you will get. Or a plus b whole square into a plus b, you write. A plus b whole square means a square plus b square plus 2ab, no, into a plus b. You multiply and simplify them, you will get answer. Okay. Dhananjay. Right. Next, quadratic equation. So it is an equation, algebraic equation of second order. Second order means the powers of the variable is 2. Then such equation is called quadratic equation. Okay, example. It is a second order equation, the quadratic equation which is in second order. That is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. It is the quadratic equation in second order because maximum power of the variable is 2. That's why it is called second order quadratic equation. Second order quadratic equation. Okay, here a, b, c are the constants. Definitely a is not equal to 0 here, because if a is equal to 0, it does not become quadratic. So here definitely a is not equal to 0. So in this case, which values of x, this equation will be satisfied. అంటే x value దేని మనం ఉంచినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ x value a value సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఈ మొత్తం quadratic equation లో సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేసినప్పుడు మనకి 0 వస్తుందో, that value satisfies this equation. The values of x for which this equation is satisfied, they are called roots of this quadratic equation. Roots of this quadratic equation. So here, as it is the second order quadratic equation, it is having two roots. It is having two roots. What are the two roots? x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of. Here coefficient of x square is a, coefficient of x is b, and constant is c. Then coefficient of x minus of coefficient of x means b plus or minus square root of. Coefficient of x square means b square minus 4 into coefficient of x square a into constant c whole by 2 into coefficient of x square means a. This is the general formula for roots of the quadratic equation. Okay. So what about the two roots means? First you take plus value, then you will get one root. Then you take minus value, minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. That is the second value of x. This equation will be satisfied. When you take plus, then you will get first root. When you take minus, then you will get second root. These two values of x satisfies this equation. That's why these are called the first value of x would satisfy this equation is minus b plus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. And the second value x2 is equal to, you take minus sign now, minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. B square minus 4ac by 2a. These are called two roots of the quadratic equation. x1 and x2 are called two roots of quadratic equation. Roots of quadratic equation. Roots of quadratic equation. Okay, these are the roots of quadratic equation. Okay, here sum of the roots, that means x1 plus x2. Sum of the two roots means x1 plus x2. It is one root, it is another root. Sum of these two roots means when you add these two, then you will get minus b by a now. Minus b by a. Okay, next product of these two roots x1 into x2, that is equal to, you will get c by a. Difference of two roots, that means x1 minus x2. x1 minus x2. Okay, then it becomes minus b by 2a plus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. X1 minus x2. Minus of this one means plus b by 2a plus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Then when you simplify them, then you will get, what is the value you will get? B square minus 4ac by 2a, no? Root of x1 minus x2 means this minus this, minus b by 2a, minus or minus plus b by 2a cancel. Then this plus square root of this one means you will get square root of b square minus 4ac by a only. Square root of b square minus 4ac by a only. Square root of b square minus 4ac by a only you will get. But in your notes, root is not there, you change them. In your notes, root is not there, you change them. Okay. Next, discriminant of the equation. Discriminant. Here this b square minus 4ac is there, no? That is called discriminant of the equation. That is called discriminant. Discriminant of equation is equal to b square minus 4ac. This is about quadratic equation. Okay, now by using this formulas, how we can solve the quadratic equation? Some examples we will discuss now. Okay, we are given x square minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. X square minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. Of course, we are having different methods. Instead of using these root formulas, directly we can do if possible. Otherwise, we have to use these formulas. Okay. Okay, example. This is only example, no? Devardhan Reddy. I will explain with example here. Okay. So x square minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. Then what are the roots of x? That means which values of x satisfies this equation? That is the question they asked. Roots of this quadratic equation they asked. How we can write? Here coefficient of x square is 1, constant is 9. So 9 into coefficient of x square 1. In how many here? How this 9 into 1 can be written so that you will get 6 value by adding or by subtracting. Okay, you see this can be written as 3 into 3, no? 3 into 3, that is equal to 9. So this can be written like that so that when you add these two, you get 6. In such a way, you have to write the combinations. So x square minus, you write this 6x as 3x minus 3x minus 3x. Because 3 into 3, no? 3, 3 minus 3x minus 6 plus 9 is equal to 0. In these two terms, you take x common, then x minus 3. In these two terms, you take minus 3 common, then as minus 3 is taken common, then you will get x minus of 3 is equal to 0. So here x minus, in these two terms, you take x minus 3 common. When you take x minus 3 common, then you will get x minus 3 only. So x minus 3 whole square is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0, or x is equal to 3. So here x value is equal to 3 itself, because it can be written as x minus 3 whole square only directly. Okay, next example 2. X square plus 5x plus 4 is given. That is equal to 0. Note that we cannot write like this. Okay, in this case, 4 into 1, 4 into 1, 5, no? 4 into 1, 5. Here, constant is 4 and quotient of x square is 1. So 1 into 4, that is equal to 4. 4 into 1, we can write this 4 as 4 into 1, no? Or 1 into 4, we can write, no? 1 into 4. So when you add these two terms, you will get 5. That's why x square plus x plus 4x. Because 4 into here 4 here 1 into x, 4 into x. 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. That's why this can be written like this, plus 4 is equal to 0. In these first two terms, you take x common, you will have x plus 1, plus in these two terms, you take 4 common, x plus 1 you will get, that is equal to 0. In these two terms, you take x plus 1 common, then remaining is x plus 4, that is equal to 0. If it is 0 means whenever x plus 1 is equal to 0, then this product becomes 0. When x plus 4 is equal to 0, this product becomes 0. That's why x plus 1 is equal to 0, x plus 4 is equal to 0. That means x is equal to minus 1, x is equal to minus 4. So when you substitute x value minus 1 or minus 4, this equation will be satisfied. That's why these are called roots of this quadratic equation. Okay. So x is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to minus 4. These are called roots of the quadratic equation. Okay, next. Similarly, you do one problem. X square minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. What about the roots of that quadratic equation? Okay, in a homework class, you do those problems. Homework class, you problems complete homework. I will send the assignment. I will send the homework. You do those problems in homework class. Okay, next one more example. Third one, you see 2x square plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. It is just like ax square plus bx plus c. It is just like this. Okay, coefficient of x square a is equal to 2, coefficient of x b is equal to 3, coefficient of constant c. Instead of c, here minus 4 is there. Can we write this as earlier? ఈ quadratic equation దా చెప్పినట్టుగా రాయొచ్చా? Product of x square coefficient means 2 into here 4. 2 into 4 is there. So how we can write? 2 into 4 means 8. We have to write 8 in the product multiple of 4, 2 digits, so that by subtracting or adding we have to get 3. Is it possible or not? You see, 2 into 4 we can write, 8 into 1 we can write. I think there are only two possibilities. 2 plus 4, 6. 4 minus 2, 3, 2. We won't get this one. 8 plus 1, 9. 8 minus 1, 7. So we cannot obtain this value by adding these two digits or subtracting the digits. That's why in this case we cannot write the quadratic, we cannot solve the roots for this quadratic equation directly. So in order to find the roots of the quadratic equation, we are having formula now. X is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of. Anybody else say what is the formula? I will unmute you somehow. I will unmute some of you. You tell me. Nitin. Nitin, you tell me.
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, quadratic formula is minus b plus or minus b square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a.
B square minus 4ac by
2a.
2a. Okay, right now. So minus here minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. B square minus 4ac whole by 2a. This is the roots of quadratic equation. This is equal to b means coefficient of x is b. The coefficient of x is 3, no? That's why minus minus b means you write coefficient of x, that is 3 plus 3. So plus or minus square root of b square means coefficient of x whole square. That means x coefficient is 3. Minus 3 or 3, what it may be, as square is there, we can have positive value only. So 3 whole square minus 4 into a means coefficient of x square 2. C means constant c. Instead of c here minus 4 is there, you write minus 4 because square is not there. By 2 into coefficient of x square is 2. So this is equal to minus 3 plus or minus square root of 9 minus minus plus 4 4s are 16 into 2 32 by 4. Therefore, x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus root 41. We can write now root 41. Root 41. Okay, therefore, by whole by 4. Therefore, one root is minus 3 plus root 41 by 4. The other root is minus 3 minus root 41 by 4. So these are the roots of that quadratic equation. In this way, you have to solve the quadratic equations. So similarly, we can do the problem. We can solve these quadratic equations. Okay. Next. Okay. Next. Binomial theorem or binomial expansions. That is also important one. Okay. Next, binomial theorem. They are also very important concept to solve the problems in physics easily. Otherwise, the physics problems becomes very different. Some problems. Binomial theorem. What is the advantage of binomial theorem? First, I want to discuss that one. Suppose we are having 1 plus x whole to the power of 2 is there. Okay, I will unmute some of you. You tell me. Santosh, I will unmute you. Speak with me. Santosh. Santosh. Harsha. Okay, Harsha.
Sir.
Harsha, are you hearing my voice?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. 1 plus x whole square. How we can write? Tell me. 1 plus x square plus 2x we can write. Okay. 1 plus a square plus b square plus 2ab. A square means 1 square is 1 plus b square means x square plus 2 into a into b means 2 into 1 into x means 2x. We can write like this. 1 minus x whole square we can write as like this only. But 1 plus x whole to the power 3 we can try to write. But 1 plus x whole to the power 1 by 3 is given. Can we write directly? Can we write directly? If you are given 1 plus x whole to the power 1 by 3, in physics problems, while doing the physics problems here, we will get such type of formulas. In that case, we cannot write simply. We cannot write this 1 plus x whole to the power 1 by 3 is equal to what means we cannot write simply. In such cases, we need the binomial expansion. We need the help of the mathematics, binomial expansion. Okay, in this binomial theorem, just in binomial theorems, just whatever the formulas we need in physics, those formulas only I am telling, not total binomial theorems. We are not having that binomial theorems in our syllabus. Just we need the formulas in binomial theorem, different formulas in binomial theorem. Okay. So here you see, in binomial theorem, when this binomial theorem is applicable in this formula, when x is by far less than 1, in such case only we can apply this binomial theorem. Okay. So when x is by far less than 1, that means x value is very small compared with 1. In such case only we can apply this binomial theorem. Okay, here in this case we are given, suppose 1 plus x whole power of n is given. 1 plus x whole power of n is given. N may be 3, 1, 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, whatever it may be. This can be written as nearly. This is nearly equal to. This is nearly equal to 1 plus whatever the power here. It is the case whenever x is very small compared with 1. In such case, we can write like this. So 1 plus x whole power of n is there. 1 plus, we have to multiply this x with power. So we can multiply with n into x. Similarly, 1 minus x whole power of n is there. That is nearly equal to, in all these functions, x value is very small compared with 1. Suppose x value is 0.001. That is very small compared with 1. No? In such case, we can write like this. 1 minus, here we have to multiply x with power n. So n into x. Suppose we are having 1 plus x whole power of minus n. So that is nearly equal to 1 plus, you have to multiply this x with power minus n into x. So minus nx you will get. Minus 1 minus nx. 1 minus x whole power of minus n is there. So 1 minus n into x, minus or minus plus nx. So plus nx. In this way, we can write. Here, what is the use of these formulas I want to discuss now? One example I will explain. Suppose we are having, what is the square root of 4? What is the square root of 4? 2. What is the square root of 9? Square root of 9 is 3. What is the square root of 16? 4. What is the square root of 1.01? What is the square root of 1.01? You don't use calculator. You don't use calculator. Directly, can we say what is the square root of 1.01 means? We cannot say directly. Without using calculator, you have to say. So we cannot say directly. In such cases, we need the help of the binomial theorem. I think you could understand what is the importance of the binomial theorem, or what is the use of the binomial theorem. Okay, we cannot do 1 plus. What is the square root of 1.01 means? We cannot say as easily as square root of 4, square root of 16 like that. In such cases, we need the help of the binomial theorem. We need the binomial theorem. How we can write? Suppose example 1. We are given square root of 1.01. This can be written as 1.01 whole power of half. No. This can be written as, you see, 1.01 can be written as 1 plus 0.01. We can write now whole power of 1 by 2. We can write this 1.01 like this now. 1.01 means 1 plus 0.01. That means 1.01 only. This can be written like this. It is just like this one. No? 1 plus x whole power of n, in which x is very small compared with 1. The 0.01 is very small compared with 1 only. No? So it is similar to this one. That's why we can apply the binomial theorem here. So according to binomial theorem, first 1, as it is 1, we have write 1 plus whatever the function here, that must be multiplied with power. So whatever the function here, that must be multiplied with power half. So half into 0.01. So this is equal to 1 plus 0.005 we can write now. Therefore that is equal to 1.005. So root 1.01 is equal to 1.005. This is the value. In this way we have to do. This way we have to do. Okay. So in these cases, this binomial theorem is very useful to us. Next, one more example I want to say. Example, cube root of 8.08 is there. Cube root of 8.08. How we can do? I can solve this value. How we can find this value? You see, cube root of 8.08 can be written as 8.08 whole to the power of 1 by 3. We can write, already I said 8.08 whole to the power of 1 by 3 we can write. Here, in this, you take 8 common. 8 of this can be written as 8 of 1.01 whole to the power of 1 by 3. That is equal to 8 can be written as 2 cube into 1.01 whole to the power of 1 by 3. Then 2 to the power of 3 into whole to the power of 2 to the power of 3 whole to the power of 1 by 3. 1.01 into whole to the power of 1 by 3. 2 to the power of 3 whole to the power of 1 by 3 into 1.01 whole to the power of 1 by 3. 2 to the power of 3 whole to the power of 1 by 3 means this powers can be multiplied. 3 into 1 by 3. 3 cancels. So 2. So 2 into 1.01 whole to the power of 1 by 3. So this is equal to 2 into 1.01 can be written as 1 plus 0.01 whole to the power of 1 by 3. That is equal to 2 into 1 plus. We can apply the binomial expansion for this to solve this value, to find this value, So here, as this 0.01 is very small compared with 1, then you can multiply this 0.01 with power. So 1 by 3 into 0.01. So 2 into 1 plus, you divide with 3, 0.003. Like this we can write. So 2 into 1.003, that is equal to 2.006. This is the value of cube root of 8.08. So in this way, 2.006 we can write, or we can write one more 3 also here, then one more 6 also you will get. Based on the answer they ask. Shall we express in terms of 3 decimal places or 2 decimal places? Based on that we have to write. Okay. Santosh, which point you need? How 0.005 means you divide this 0.01, you divide with 3. Where is 0.005 you need? 0. You see, 1 plus 0.01 whole to the power of half means 1 plus 1 by 2 into 0.01 according to binomial expansion. So 0.01 by 2, no? 0.01 by 2 means 0.01 cannot be divided directly with the 2. That's why you put one more 0 so that it becomes 10. So 10 by 2 means 5. So 5 we can write. So 0.005. 1 plus 0.005 means 1.005 we can write now. Okay. So in this way we can do. I think you can do based on this. So this is about binomial theorem. Next, arithmetic progression. Arithmetic progression. Suppose if the series of numbers are given so that the difference between any two, there are series of numbers which are added, so that the difference between any two successive numbers or successive terms remains same, then they are said to be in arithmetic progression. For example, if the difference between any two successive terms are equal, then that series is said to be in AB. Example, A plus B, A plus 2D, and so on. You see, A plus D, A plus 2D, etc. Difference between successive terms means A plus D minus A, D. A plus 2D minus A plus D, D. That means the difference between any two successive terms you take, the difference is same. That's why the series of terms are said to be in AB. Arithmetic progression means AB. In this way, n terms are there. In this way, n terms are there. So here the difference between any two successive terms is A plus D minus A means D only, no? A plus 2D minus half A plus D means D only, no? and D is called, here the common difference is D. D is common difference. D is the common difference. Now in this nth term in AP, అంటే దీంట్లో nth term ఇక్కడ a plus d a plus 2d అట్లా వచ్చినాయి కదా, nth term ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి nth term కనుక తీసుకుంటే ఆ nth term ఏమవుతుంది, nth term is equal to a plus n minus 1 into d. nth term అంటే యాక్చువల్గా చూడండి, ఫస్ట్ టర్మ్ ఇది, సెకండ్ టర్మ్ వచ్చేసరికి 2 minus 1 into d, థర్డ్ టర్మ్ వచ్చేసరికి 3 minus 1 into d, nth టర్మ్ వచ్చేసరికి n minus 1 into d. కాబట్టి nth టర్మ్ వచ్చేసరికి a plus n minus 1 into d. It is the nth term. Okay, sum of the first n terms. Sum of first n terms in AP. అంటే a plus d plus a plus 2d plus and so on. Sum of first n terms. Sum of first n terms. Sn is equal to, yes, sum of first n terms. Sn is equal to n by 2 into first term plus last term. AP లో ఉన్న n terms లో number of terms by 2 into first term plus last term. First term అంటే ఇక్కడ a, first term అంటే ఇక్కడ a. Okay, n by 2 into first term is a. What is the last term? What is the last term? Last term అంటే ఇక్కడ a అని అనుకోండి, ఇది ఫస్ట్ టర్మ్, లాస్ట్ టర్మ్ అంటే a అని అనుకోండి. ఇక్కడ లాస్ట్ ఎంత టర్మ్స్, లాస్ట్ టర్మ్ ఇక్కడ a అని అనుకుంటే నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ టర్మ్స్ బై 2 into a1 plus an. ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూద్దాం. ఇక్కడ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus and so on, అట్లా n టర్మ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫస్ట్ n టర్మ్స్ ఎంత అంటాడు, సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫస్ట్ n టర్మ్స్ ఆర్ సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫస్ట్ n నేచురల్ నెంబర్స్ ఎంత అంటాడు. సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫస్ట్ n నేచురల్ నెంబర్స్ అంటే 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus అట్లా n టర్మ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. n టర్మ్స్ యొక్క సమ్మేషన్ ఎంత అంటే ఇక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పాగా, if the number of terms to be added is n and if they are in AP, are these series of numbers are in AP or not? ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చిన ఈ నెంబర్స్ అన్ని కూడా AP లో ఉన్నాయా లేవా చూడండి ఒకసారి. ఈ నెంబర్స్ అన్ని AP లో ఉన్నాయా లేవా? Are these numbers are in AP or not? Okay, the difference between any two adjacent terms is equal to 1. No? The difference between any two adjacent terms is 1. 3 minus 2 1, 4 minus 3 1. That means these are in AP. But AP లో ఉన్నప్పుడు sum of the n terms అంటే ఇదేగా ఫార్ములా, sum of n terms is equal to number of terms by 2, అంటే ఇక్కడ n terms ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి n by 2 into first term a1 అంటే ఎంత, ఫస్ట్ టర్మ్ ఇక్కడ ఈ సిరీస్ లో ఇదే కదా కాబట్టి 1, లాస్ట్ టర్మ్ అంటే n. So therefore sum of n terms is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. Sum of first n terms in AP. This is the formula. Okay. Next. Note point. Sum of the squares of first n terms. That means 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus and so on n square. Sum of the squares of first n terms. If these are not in AP, it is general formula. Sum of the squares of first n terms is equal to n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 whole by 6. n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 whole by 6. That is the sum of the squares of first n terms. Okay. Next, geometric progression. Within 20 minutes class will be completed. Within the 20 minutes class will be completed. Already you know the timetable, no? Yesterday also class was already completed. Yesterday class are also completed. Actually classes are from 11 to 12:50 now. 11 to 12:50, but within 10 minutes I will complete. Okay. Right. Geometric progression. Geometric progression means GP. Geometric progression means GP. Here, the ratio between any two adjacent terms are same. Suppose AR square, AR cube, and so on. You see, there are series of terms are there. The ratio between any two adjacent terms means AR by A ante R, AR square by AR. Adjacent terms kada. AR square by AR ante R, AR cube by AR square ante R. Ante the ratio between adjacent terms remains same. Then these are said to be in geometric progression. These are said to be in geometric progression. When these are in geometric progression, what is the sum of, in this case, what is the nth term in GP? Nth term in geometric progression is first term, second, third, fourth, atla nth term kavali. Nth term is how much? Nth term is equal to first term A into common ratio. Here common ratio is smaller, no? AR by A ante R. AR square by R ante R. So R is the common ratio here. R is the common ratio. Common ratio. So nth term is equal to A into R power of n minus 1. It is the A into R to the power of n minus 1. It is the nth term in GP. Suppose మనకి ఫస్ట్ టర్మ్ కావాలి. ఫస్ట్ టర్మ్ అంటే ఇక్కడ n is equal to 1 రాసేయండి. n is equal to 1 రాస్తే R to the power of 1 minus 1 అంటే R to the power of 0 అంటే 1. అప్పుడు a నే వచ్చేది. సెకండ్ టర్మ్ కావాలి. n is equal to 2 you put. Then R to the power of 2 minus 1 means R. A into R. Already we got second term. Third term కావాలి. You put n is equal to 3. Then AR square. Fourth term AR cube. You will get like this. So it is the common general formula for nth term in GP. Nth term in GP. Next is sum of the n terms in GP. Sum of n terms in GP. అంటే వీటన్నిటికి ఒక summation. Sum of n terms in GP. ఇది కావాలి మనకి. Sum of n terms in GP అంటే that depends on the common ratio. Suppose if common ratio is greater than 1, if R is greater than 1, if the common ratio between adjacent terms in the geometric progression or GP is greater than 0, in this case, the sum of the n terms is equal to A into R power of n minus 1 by R minus 1. If R is greater than 0, if R less than 0, then sum of the n terms is equal to A into 1 minus R power of n by 1 minus R. Okay. Sum of the infinite terms in GP. Sum of infinite terms. That is important. Infinite terms in GP. Sum of infinite terms in GP. S infinity is equal to first term by 1 minus common ratio. Suppose if you take this one, infinite terms are there, then first term is A by 1 minus common ratio smaller, A by 1 minus R. That is the sum of infinite terms. This formula is also very, very important. Okay, one example I want to discuss here. In case of geometric progression, one plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus and so on. Infinite terms are there. That is equal to how much? Sum of infinite terms which are like this. 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 16 plus and so on like this. Infinite terms are there. Sum of the infinite terms is what? Is the series of these terms are in AP or GP? Is the series of these terms are in AP or GP? Tell me. GP, because the ratio between the adjacent terms is same. 1 by 2 by 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 4 by 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 8 by 1 by 4, 1 by 2. That means common ratio is small r is equal to 1 by 2, which is less than 1. No, I'm sorry, less than. You see, common ratio is equal to 1 by. Okay, common ratio is 1 by 2, not less than 0. Okay. Common ratio is 1 by 2, that means less than 1. Okay, in such case, sum of infinite terms is equal to A by 1 minus R. If R is less than 1 or less than, if R is less than 1 or less than 0, we can write like this. Okay, this is equal to A means 1, by 1 minus common ratio 1 by 2. So this is equal to 2. 2 is the answer. Here 2 is the answer. Okay. Similarly, one more example. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus and so on. Infinite terms. Sum of the infinite terms is how much? If they are like this. No doubt it is also in GP. In GP, sum of infinite terms. Common ratio here is R is equal to 2 by 1 2, 4 by 2 2. That means common ratio is 2. Therefore, here in this case, what is the sum of infinite terms? Sum of infinite terms is equal to, tell me, as this is greater than 1 now, that's why you have to write a into r minus 1 we have to write. Sorry, a by r minus 1 we have to write, because if r is less than 1, then we have to write 1 minus r. If r is greater than 1, we have to write r minus 1. So a by r minus 1. A means first term by r means 2 minus 1. That is equal to 1. So sum of infinite terms. No, it's not correct. Common ratio is 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus and so on. No, it's not correct, I think. Here in this case, so when in this sum of the n terms in GP, when common ratio greater than 1, in such case we use Sn is equal number of sum of n terms is equal to a into r power of n minus 1 by r minus 1. When r less than 1, sum of n terms is equal to a into 1 minus r to the power of n whole by 1 minus r. Sum of the infinite terms means first term by 1 minus common ratio we have to use. Suppose if r, here it is the case whenever r is less than 1 only. Here r is less than 1. In such case, sum of the infinite terms can be written like this. If sum of the finite terms means when r less than 1 and sum of finite terms or n terms, formula is this one. For infinite terms, when r is less than 1, the formula is first term by, that means a by 1. In this series, first term is a by 1 minus r. This formula is very, very useful to us. Okay, right. Right, Nandan. Thank you. Have a nice day. I'm signing out.